Let's continue with the next session, which is let's draw something in 3D. So in previous videos, we created a link that would take us to a static web page. So there's nothing on that page right now, and we just want to enter a 3D world. So one way we can enter a 3D world is have a static 3D world. Just demonstrate that we can draw a three-dimensional box, and for that we can use the babylon.js library. So let's boot up our server. Navigate to our spaces page, and if we are to enter any of these, we'll just hit the static controller. The path is S and the space ID, and we just have a placeholder that some immersive experience goes there. So let's modify that template. That'll be located under lib web folder. Under the controllers, we have this templates folder for the show, and in here we just want to add a canvas in here. So we can have a canvas, and it will have some ID, and we can probably give it the space ID. And we can get rid of this. So now we can't see it, but I believe it's there. And there's our canvas. So I have some notes about how to add the babylon.js. So I forgot to mention that off screen in the assets folder, I ran npm init and just gave it some settings so that we could install packages using npm. So in here, in the assets folder, we can install babylon.js. Let's go install babylon.js. So we can try this. So we go into our assets folder and npm install these guys. So now we have these packages, and then we already have TypeScript because of ESBuild that comes with Phoenix. So I'm not sure that we need any of these things. So we don't need Webpack, blah, blah, blah. Don't think we need this. This is just for bundling. So now creating a scene, we need to grab that canvas and create an engine and a scene. So let's create a function. Let's create a file for this. So we'll call this scene, and it'll be TypeScript, and maybe we'll just wrap this inside some kind of make scene function. And we'll grab some of these things. So actually we want to do window.getElementById, or is it document.getElementBy? and the ID will be the space ID. So probably need to pass that in. So this is our canvas. And then we just create a scene and the engine. So engine will import from import engine and scene from core. Does that work? Yes. Okay. Canvas. HTML element is not assignable to parameter. It needs an HTML canvas element. Okay. So as HTML canvas element. Okay. So now we have the engine scene, and then we need to create a camera, a light, a sphere. Yeah, we can do all that. We just want to see something, right? So I'm just importing these packages. Okay, so this should draw something. Okay, not yet. We need to then run our engine loop. So that should show us something. So we just need a way of calling this make scene. So on app, which would run everywhere, so we only want to run this if we're on this page. And currently we don't have a way to access this because well, app will be loaded here, but so we could add something here to see if there is an element. And if there's an element, do the following. Otherwise, don't do the following. Or, let's see. We could put this function on the window object and then call it from this file, or sorry, this file, maybe. Let's see if that can work. So on scene, we've defined this function which will get bundled inside the ESBuild will bundle this together because the entry point is app, and so if app were to reference scene, it will get bundled together, which, oh, okay, so it won't get bundled because app doesn't have a reference to scene. So if we want it to get bundled together, we have to import it. So let's do it this way. So import make scene, which we have to export. So here we need to export the make scene from here, from scene, and then we can say document on what? Or is it window? Window on page ready or something like that. Window on load, document ready. DOM content loaded, yes. Okay, so we can copy this. So after the window is loaded, we can just do a check. So document get element by tag, by tag name, and it's canvas. So if that's not null, then console log there is a canvas. Else no canvas. Okay, there's an error here because my server's not running. Yeah, I can just start it. Import make scene will always be undefined because has no exports. Make scene has no exports. Yes, gotta save this. There is a canvas, okay. So this will run, and then we can use that function make scene, and we need to pass in some scene ID, which right now it doesn't matter. We can pass in any string. Just actually we can't because it's looking for a particular canvas. So one thing we can do is we can pass in the canvas. But I kind of want to make it encapsulated here, so let's find a way to pass the scene ID to the page. So right now, app.js is static, so we can't put variables in there from the backend, but we can pass something onto the show template. So here we can just put a script tag, and we could just put some context in here. So we could say var space ID equal space ID. And then here it should be defined because this happens after the DOM's loaded. So there should be space ID here. Oh, okay. Let's put strings around that. Space ID is undefined right there. Okay. Okay. Let's do window space ID. And app.js will get like so. Right. Okay, so there is our 3D rendered thing. Just out of curiosity, I want to see the bundle that it creates. So under priv static assets. This is the bundle it makes. And yeah, it's bundling a lot from babylon.js. Okay, but hopefully with minification it won't be too big. All right, so now we have something generic there. And I would like to make this full screen. So in the show, I'm just going to add some inline styles here. I'll just say that HTML body overflow hidden width 100%, height 100%, and margin 0, padding 0, and then here we have, let me add a class here. So we have class is space canvas, and then we'll add a class for space canvas that is positioned right on top with 100% as well. Put that on top. Okay, that way when you touch over it won't highlight. Okay, so now we have full screen. Now if we resize, it didn't resize that, so there is something for that, which is in space you can say you just add a listener to window add event listener. When you have a resize event, just resize the engine. And then that way, if you resize the screen, it will resize the engine. Okay, so we have some 3D world. It's not sending messages to another browser, so another browser would open this, and next I think we need to add some communication.